Week 11, Cultivating Optimism and Resilience. Welcome back to the Schnarr podcast, and welcome to week 11 of our happiness journey. I'm Schnarr, and I'm glad you're here. Every week we come together to grow and glow, learning to live more fully, more consciously, as we glow from the inside out. This is week 11 of 12 of the Schnarr podcast happiness series. If you're following along in my 12-week happiness book, that's great. If you don't have the book, that's absolutely fine, but you will want something to write with and write on. If you'd like to get the book, just go to the About section of the Schnarr podcast, wherever you found this episode, and there will be a link to my 12 Happiness Coach Sessions for Coaches and Individuals book on Amazon. Or you can just go to Amazon and search for Schnarr Coach. That's Schnarr Coach. Be sure to check out the BarbaraSchnarrPodcast.com. You can find the daily motivations, latest podcast episodes, and links to all the books. I like it. Be sure to follow me on all the socials, too. Let's build up my numbers. Before we get started, I'm excited to announce that on July 2nd, we'll be starting our 12-week somatic healing journey. My somatic healing workbook has been my best-selling coach book so far, and I know it'll be a great series. You're coming into the final stretch of this journey, and this week is about strengthening something that allows everything you've built to hold up over time. Because no matter how much growth you've experienced, life will still include uncertainties, setbacks, and moments that just don't go the way you expected. The goal has never been to avoid these moments. The goal is to develop a way of responding to them that keeps you steady, clear, and moving forward. And that's where optimism and resilience come in. Optimism isn't about denying reality or forcing yourself to be positive. It's about how you interpret what's happening. It's the ability to see more than just the problem in front of you, to recognize that there are still options, still movement, and still a way forward. Resilience is your ability to act on that perspective. It's how you adapt, recover, and continue, even when things feel difficult or uncertain. Together, they shape your experience of challenges. They don't remove them, but they change how much those challenges take from you. A helpful place to begin this week is by becoming more aware of how you naturally respond when things go wrong. When you face a setback, what's your immediate reaction? Do you assume the situation will continue to get worse? Do you focus on what went wrong and stay there? Or do you begin to look for what can be done next? The first response often happens automatically, but once you notice it, you can begin to influence it. When something challenging happens, pause and ask yourself a question that creates space. What are the possible ways this could go, not just the worst one? This shifts your thinking from taking a single negative outcome and opens up a broader view. It allows you to consider solutions, neutral outcomes, or even opportunities that might not have been obvious at first. This is one of those core habits that you need to be optimistic. It's not about ignoring difficulty, but about refusing to see it as the only outcome. Another important layer is your internal dialogue. The way you speak to yourself during difficult moments has a direct impact on how you respond. If your internal voice is critical or discouraging, it can make challenges feel heavier and reduce your willingness to act. This week, pay attention to that voice. When you notice a thought like, "I can't handle this," pause and adjust it to something more accurate and supportive, such as, "This is difficult, but I can work through it step by step." If you catch yourself thinking, "This always happens," shift it to, "This is happening right now, and I can decide how to respond." These adjustments may seem small, but they change the direction you're thinking. They move you from feeling stuck to feeling capable of taking action, and resilience builds from there. One of the most effective ways to strengthen resilience is to change how you approach challenges. Instead of viewing a situation as something that is happening to you, begin to look at it as something you are responding to. This creates a sense of agency. When you encounter a challenge, break it down into smaller parts. Focus on what you can influence, even if it's just the next step. This prevents the situation from feeling overwhelming and gives you a clear place to start. It's also helpful to look at your past experiences in a more structured way. Think about a time when you faced something difficult and were able to move through it. Identify what helped you in that situation. Was it persistence, problem solving, support from others, or simply continuing even when it was uncomfortable? These reflections are not about remembering, they're about building evidence. They remind you that you've already developed the ability to handle challenges and that those abilities are still available to you. Another way to support optimism is by intentionally directing your attention. Your mind naturally notices problems and risks, which is useful, but it can also create an imbalance. If all of your attention goes to what's not working, your overall perspective becomes more negative, and even if there are positive elements present. This is where an optimism journal comes in. Each day, write down 3 things that went well. They don't need to be significant. In fact, the smaller everyday moments are often more valuable to notice. Then add 1 thing you're looking forward to. This practice helps balance your attention. It doesn't ignore challenges, but it ensures that they are not only the only things you are focusing on. Over time, this creates a more stable and forward-looking mindset. It's also important to address how you interpret failure. When something doesn't go as planned, it's easy to see it as a reflection of your ability or worth. But in most cases, it's simply a part of the process of learning and adapting. This week, take one experience you previously labeled as a failure and examine it more closely. What did you learn? What changed because of that experience? And what skills or awareness did you gain? When you shift your interpretation in this way, failure becomes information. It becomes something you can use rather than something that stops you. Gratitude continues to support this as well. Starting your day by acknowledging one thing you're grateful for helps anchor your mindset. It creates a point of stability that can influence how you approach the rest of your day. It's a small practice, but it reinforces the habit of noticing what is present and supportive, not just what's difficult. And finally, consider the role of your environment. The people you interact with regularly can influence how you think and respond. Spending time with individuals who are solution-focused, supportive, and realistic can help reinforce your own ability to stay grounded. This doesn't mean avoiding all negativity, but it does mean being aware of how your environment affects your mindset. As you move through this week, keep your approach steady and practical. Notice how you respond to challenges and create space before reacting. Shift your thinking to consider multiple possible outcomes. Adjust your self-talk to be more supportive and realistic. Break challenges into manageable steps and focus on what you can control. Reflect on past experiences to reinforce your resilience. Write down 3 positive moments each day and 1 thing you're looking forward to. Reframe failure as a part of your learning process. Start your day with a moment of gratitude and spend time with people who support a balanced and constructive perspective. And at the end of the week, take time to reflect. Did your response to challenges change at all? Did situations feel more manageable when you adjusted your thinking? Did you notice more of what was going well, even during difficult days? Because optimism and resilience are not fixed traits. They are built through repetition. Each time you shift your perspective, each time you take a step forward instead of staying stuck, you strengthen your ability to handle what comes next. Next week, we'll bring everything together and focus on sustaining happiness over the long term, creating a structure that supports everything you've built. For now, stay with the process. Keep strengthening your ability to adapt, respond, and move forward. See you next week.